watching me compete, maybe they have my worm guard DVD, but that was the first like budding system of it. It's blossomed like over 5-fold since then. It's much deeper and much more complex as to what to do from each position. So at this point, it's no longer just like a grip that I use when I can get, and I have some sweeps from there, I have some attacks from there. Now it's like a full system. Like from every position in jiu-jitsu, I can get to my system, and I have an answer for any counters or any positions that I find myself in. And so what I'm going to try and do with this new course is I'm going to try and lay out as much as physically possible every possible situation, counter, position that you may find yourself in while playing the lapel guard system, whether it's worm guard, squid guard, gubber guard. We're going to be mixing all those together, covering all the details, covering all of the possible counters and situations you may find yourself in. So my goal for someone who is to watch this full course, right, like really each section of the course, focusing on each lapel guard. If you just watch one section, I want you to be able to go out into a training room or a competition, be able to get your grips, and just be fully comfortable there for the entirety of the fight. I don't want you to have to switch to anything else, like, oh, squid guard's not working for me, I have to switch back to closed guard. That shouldn't be the case, because the system in itself is almost foolproof. That's what's really unique about the lapel guard, is there isn't really any direct counters to it. The reason you see a lot of guards fade in and out of competition, like reverse de la Riva, for instance, isn't really played anymore in competition, which you may not know that if you're not an avid competitor. There's an inherent weakness in it that allows it to be shut down by a lot of really good black belts, and so you don't see it played as much anymore. Same thing with spider guard. A lot of really good spider guard players has kind of gone to the wayside because of modern passing understanding has kind of shut down spider guard. Formerly great spider guard players like Michael Lange have kind of faded into the background a little bit because the guard isn't as effective. And the cool thing about lapel guard is it's kind of time proof. Like the grips in themselves, there isn't a way to just counter it with a specific body movement. Like it requires the person breaking the grip. Just because of the way the mechanics of the position, it locks you to the person. And so it's kind of a unique thing where every other guard that you play, someone can literally just pop your grip. And that's why in jiu-jitsu, popping grips is so important, because they pop the grip and you have to re-grip to something else. You have to move to a new position. You have to do something else. But with the lapel guard, there's no easy way for someone to just pop your hand off their lapel. If you have a pretty strong grip, this grip is not strippable, and which is why people who are unfamiliar with the position are so annoyed by it. It forces them to have to change their entire style of passing, because every good black belt style of passing is break grips and then pass. In the moment that the person on bottom loses their grip, there's an opening for the person on top to attack, and that is the rock, paper, scissors of jiu-jitsu. They break their grip, they initiate a pass, you re-grip, re-guard, then they break their grip again, and then the cycle repeats. But when you have a lapel involved, that grip, re-grip, grip game is not really in play anymore. It's more about them having to untangle themselves with movement rather than stripping a grip and then moving. So it's kind of a unique thing, and it requires a little bit of a mind shift of how you play jiu-jitsu, because it's no longer a push and pull. It's not as simple as pushing and pulling, which is most of what jiu-jitsu is. It's a pressure, pushing, and pulling. Whereas when you involve a lapel, there's a lot of like rotational forces. Friction is involved. Like friction adds to the position and makes it much harder for people to move. There's a lot more abstract leverage involved, which I'm going to explain as we get into the meat and potatoes of the techniques. So yes, that's kind of the lowdown of what we're going to be trying to shoot here today, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. The way this course is going to be structured is going to be a little different than what you may be used to if you are an avid jiu-jitsu instructional watcher. Most jiu-jitsu instructionals focus on a specific position and then hitting you with just as many techniques as they can fit as possible into their time slot or however long the DVD is. I like to take a little bit more of a systematic approach where each technique can stand alone by itself. It has you can just take any one technique and add it into your game and it will be effective. But the way I'm going to teach it is showing you how, if you want to, you could have an entirely new style of jiu-jitsu that you wouldn't have to incorporate into your current game. But at the same time, you will be able to take bits and pieces if you want. But the lapel guard as a whole is much more powerful when you use it all together. And that's what's going to be interesting about this. For me to put it all on video, because it's all in my brain and instinctually I can go into all the positions naturally. I don't really have to think about it. But it is a very complex like lattice work, and it does branch outwardly. So like it starts with the basics of the lapel controls and the positions themselves, the ringworm guard, squid guard, worm guard, reverse delta worm guard, gubber guard. Those are like the base foundations, and that's what we're going to start with. We'll start with each one and then explore the branching opportunities that specific guard can take you in, depending on the reactions of your opponent and depending on your aggressiveness and your ability to initiate the next position. Now, each of those positions can transfer into the other positions, such as worm guard switching into ringworm guard. They all work together themselves. A good analogy for what lapel guard has done to jiu-jitsu is very similar to what has happened in the nogi realm of jiu-jitsu recently, where John Danaher's leg lock system has sort of opened people's eyes as to what you can do with the lower half of the human body. And that new knowledge has took a lot of people by surprise and allowed his team to be very successful with their specific unique knowledge. The lapel guard is very similar to that. However, I'm not a jiu-jitsu coach. I don't have a team under me that I teach. However, I'm very confident that if I did, I would have